Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. My name is Joshua Brummel, one of the founders of Therapy Flow, and we're digging into another great topic. Today we're digging into decision making, action making, and how to use a proper flow, to transform the way that you decide how to act, what to act, and how you know something will be successful. So there are a couple elements when you are thinking about what makes a practice go. And I'm going to break down a couple different flows or a couple different frameworks of thinking that have allowed me to become faster at doing the doing. Earlier today, I made a post in our Facebook group that talked about one of our new program participants. His name is Neil. He saw an email from me, decided to take action. He booked a call, asked to move up the call sooner because it's like, hey, is there any way I can get on the calendar sooner? Got the information he needed, joined the program, then took action on the immediate steps that we gave him, launched some different forms of marketing, got his first lead or got his first inquiry on the calendar, and is already seeing growth 3-4 days later. And there's a framework, whether he realized it or not, and I think in some ways he did, that he walked himself through to take quick, concise, massive action. There are 3 things you need to grow your practice. You need the knowledge, you need the tools, and you need the execution, doing the doing, right? If you don't know what you're doing or how to do it or where to do it, right, you can't do it. If you don't have the tools to do it, either the money or the time or the software or the team member or whatever, it also can't get done. And then if you don't apply the knowledge and the tool to the action, right, to pulling the trigger, it will never come about. So the first decision-making flow that I want to push to you as you're trying to grow this business in 2023 is to ask yourself a simple question when you're struggling, and this can be a micro question a macro question for your entire business, or this can be a micro question for a specific part of your business. And it's, what part of the business am I not lacking in, or am I lacking in? Am I lacking in knowledge? Is that why this thing isn't happening? Do I not know something? Even if I don't know what I don't know, do I not know something that would help me see success in this area, see a better outcome, see a better built business? Do I not have the tool? Do I not have the resource to make this happen? Am I using the incorrect thing? Do I not have the team member, right? Rarely, and I'll say this, rarely is it a tool. Either we don't ever need the tool, right? You can dig a hole with your hands, you can dig a hole with a shovel, and you can dig a hole with an excavator, right? Oftentimes, we only need the hole digging with our hands or with the shovel. We don't actually need the excavator, but a lot of times we're looking for the big backhoe in order to get the result that we want, even though that's way overkill and we don't actually need that tool yet for the goal to dig a hole and put a fence post in it, right? So we need to simplify the tools that we're looking for typically. But am I lacking the knowledge? Do I need a better tool? Do I need a better process? Or am I struggling to do the doing? And let me unpack the doing. There's a couple different ways that we see our practice owners, and I see myself, fail in a specific area of the business. Have I done enough of it? Have I done the volume of it, right? So this is a flow or a framework to think through on whether your actions are failing, right? Have I done enough of the action? Networking is a really good example. Have you done a networking that you can realistically expect a result from it? Reaching out to 3 doctors or 3 providers in your space, or being on only one podcast, it would actually be unreasonable to expect a return from that, even though we took action. And maybe we even took the action in the correct way. We just haven't done enough volume, right? We haven't done it for long enough. we haven't been consistent enough. Social media is an example of this. Statistically, on average, it takes anywhere from 6 to 18 months for most like content creators or business owners to actually see a return on investment or just like consistent dollars coming from a social media channel. So not only do you need to be posting enough times and creating enough content, but you have to do it for a long enough period of time that you're actually going to see the result for it, right? Or kind of lastly, other than volume and time, are we not doing the action at all, or we're doing the action incorrectly, right? It's I'm posting on social media consistently and at the volume, but my strategy is wrong. I'm going in the wrong direction, right? I'm driving the car, it's full of gas, but I'm not driving into the sunset. I'm driving in the exact opposite direction that I need to go, or some version of that. You're 2 millimeters off. You're whatever, and often it's a small degree of difference. And we can think through that as we're trying to decide where we're at. And most counselors think that they need a new tool, or they need to acquire a ton and a ton and a ton of knowledge. But in reality, you actually need to shorten your execution to your knowledge acquisition gap. And that's the last thing that I want to cover today, is from the time that you learn something to the time that you take action and do it. So Neil's a great example. He joined our program. He learned the new method or the new process for writing copy and launching his Facebook ad, and he put it all together and he just launched it, right? He did that instead of across a couple weeks or a couple months. He did that in about a day and a half time frame. He got the feedback and the process from us and just did it. He shortened the amount of action it taken to do something that he just learned. And now the rest of his success will be based on how quickly he continues to look at how that ad is doing and making massive action. He's not just going to let it run for the next couple months and just see how it goes and keep sticking money into it. He's going to learn what he needs to know about how the ad should or could be performing, and then he'll make swift changes as soon as he learns the information. And he's using us as a source of knowledge and as a source of accountability to take those actions. So there's this methodology or this flow when it comes to improving a process. So if you're improving your marketing, you're improving your networking, one, you need to decide what or how you're going to do something. And you decide that from the knowledge or the direction you have. If you don't have direction, if you don't know how to decide on something, you probably need to acquire more knowledge, right? You need to decide how to grow your business. You need to decide how to market your business. You need to decide what type of marketing and so forth, right? You need to decide. And then you need to build and execute, right? Once you have that knowledge, you just need to go into build mode, and you need to not stop until it's done being built, until it's done being executed, until the action is in play, right? So, I'm going to network. Great. If you know you need to network, you write a quick little framework and then go and network. And then once you've done it a little bit, you've reached out to one person, 3 people, 10 people, you need to learn from that. What was the result? Was there any result? Why was there not a better result? What could I do to improve the result? Did I get the result that I wanted? Do I even know how to improve the result, right? And maybe you already have the information at your fingertips. Oh man, maybe I'll do it a little bit differently this way. Or man, I have no idea how to improve the networking that I just did. I got to go someplace else to acquire the knowledge that's not within me. And that's the last step, is acquire the knowledge or revamp the process. I used this type of messaging. I reached out to this type of person, and this was the result that I got. Now I'm going to go and use this different framework or this different template or this different social media strategy and see if I get a better or a different result or a different call to action. And all of this boils down to 2 things that I've been talking about. Number 1 is having a framework to establish where you're at in the process. Micro and macro. Macro for the entire business and micro for a specific element like networking and networking through email or networking through in person, right? Do you have knowledge? Do you have the tools? And are you executing the way that you should be? And if you are doing that, following the flow of decide what to do, build and take the action, learn, and then revamp the process. If you want to be someone that moves swiftly this year in terms of building your business goals, in terms of having the practice outcomes that you want, the biggest skill that you can have as a business owner, and the one that's been most valuable to me, is shortening the gap between what you know and what you do. And for me, that was always my biggest struggles. I know a lot, I read quickly, I'm a sponge on a coaching call or otherwise, and it's all in my head. But how do I translate that into action? So let me speak a little bit on that last piece, is how do you translate this into massive action, quick action? A couple things. Number one, for me, it helps if it's on my calendar. So right now, I do networking 4 days a week. There's a 30-minute slot that's on my calendar that's immovable, right? And I adhere to it. When the networking slot comes up, great. Stop what I was doing, whatever that was, and I go through my networking framework that I know that works. I went through that earlier this week. On our last live was the networking framework that I'm doing right now, right? It's on my calendar. I have voted with my feet, so to speak. I have voted with the time that's on my calendar, and I show up and do the action. If you are a practice owner and you do not have business building time set aside on your calendar, you will always give your business the worst time slots, right? Because everything else will fill around it. You won't carve out that 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock hour on Tuesdays that you are at your best and brightest, or that 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. where you just had your cup of coffee and you're moving and grooving. Let me give you an ounce of encouragement here and say that if your best skill is therapy, you will probably be a great therapist at any time of the day. But if you are not a great business owner or a great business builder, you have to find the time in your life where you have your best times and have your best days and prioritize your business building at those zones. So it actually gets done in 2-hour blocks, in 4-hour blocks. Vote with your feet by transforming your schedule. Change your schedule, build your business, right? And a couple other things for action points beyond the calendar. Do the one thing methodology. It's this question: what is the number one thing that I can do right now that will move my business forward or accomplish the goal that I have, and make everything else easier? You need to boil down one thing in your business that will make a difference today that you can do, right? It's not, I can do this tomorrow, I can do it next week. What's the one thing you can do right now? And whenever you show up and do your weekly planning, your monthly planning, your annual planning, right? Focus on action-oriented one things, not outcome-oriented one things. Man, the number one thing I could do to change my life would be to have a $10 million practice or a $180,000 a year practice. You're right, that would change your life, and that is a huge, cool one thing to go after. But how does that translate into an action? The number one thing I can do for my business today is write my Facebook ad. The number one thing I can do for my business today is research how to launch a Facebook ad. The number one thing I can do for my business today is find a coach to hire. The number one thing that I can do for my business today or right now when I have this 2-hour chunk is to edit my Facebook ads or do my client phone calls and improve my sales process, right? Do action-oriented one things so you have clear, concise decision making on where you're headed with your business. Shorten the gap between knowledge of what you want and what you know you can do to action by simplifying it. Do more by doing less. And this is my last thing for today. If you were able to accomplish one significant thing for your business every single day that used the one thing methodology, right? So you do this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays in a 2-hour or 4-hour chunk. Or you only accomplished one big thing for your business on a business building level on a weekly basis, right? That is 52 big things that you accomplish for your business in a year. You can't tell me that at the end of a year of accomplishing 52 big, the most important thing that you could do for your business that week, week over week over week over week, that your business wouldn't be fundamentally different. And it would not, and it would, I can say with certainty, would speed up the pacing in the business. Now, how do I know this is true? We worked with almost twice as many counselors this past year as we did the year before. And I fundamentally approached our business differently this year than the year before. Not only was there a compound effect, but there was also a concise effect within the year in and of itself. And, even at the start of this year, we're already on track to work with, more counselors than ever before, because this is the methodology I use to grow the businesses I'm a part of and the practice owners that we work with. And you can use this and you can, execute on this whether you work with us or not. I hope this helps. I hope this is straightforward. Let me know what questions you have, on whatever platform you're watching this on. Give it a little love, leave a like, leave a comment, right? Let more people see this, share this if this is valuable for you so other people can benefit from this process. I'll be back for our next Facebook Live on Friday, and we'll see you then. Until